is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction.
G'day, Rockhound here. Embark Studios have just announced that their first game to launch, which was previously codenamed Project Discovery, is called The Finals. They dropped this short and at first viewing seemingly quite chaotic teaser for the game at Gamescom, as well as some extra GIFs and concept art, all of which I'll take a super close frame-by-frame look at in a moment. We also learned at Gamescom that a full trailer will drop for the game in September, and importantly, on the Finals Steam page you can now sign up for playtests, which should take place in the early fall according to previous info. As well as the teaser, we also learned a lot extra about the game from additional info that Embark provided, and amongst everything, there have been some important Easter eggs found, and partway through my teaser breakdown, I'll talk more about those because they appear to tell us about seasons for the game. Okay, firstly, let's start with the press release that Embark Studios has put out, which reads, Embark Studios today revealed The Finals, the ultimate combat-centered game show that takes dynamism and intuitiveness to a new level, where if you think something will work, it probably will. We invite you to virtual arenas based on iconic real-world locations that contestants can alter, exploit, and even destroy in chaotic PvP matches. Add a tremendous variety of skills and weapons to the mix, and you will be able to craft your own unique contestant with your very own loadout, playstyle, and look. Those who succeed will advance through escalating tournaments, earning lasting fame as they reach the ultimate pinnacle of competition in the finals. To have a chance to be a contestant in the finals, sign up for upcoming playtests on PC at reachthefinals.com. Stay tuned for more information, including the gameplay reveal next month at Twitter, YouTube, Discord, and Steam. In addition to that press release, the Steam page for the finals, which I have a link to in the video description below, actually gives us the most information. Aside from reconfirming the game is free to play, it also says, sure, you can aim and shoot, but contestants that add our carefully curated virtual environments to their arsenal are more likely to advance, so do anything you can imagine in the name of victory. Burn arenas to the ground, send wrecking balls crashing into your opponents. Don't just pull triggers, pull down buildings. The world is watching. The finals thrives on spectacle, so drive your fans wild with thrilling combat and your own personal flair as you compete for worldwide fame and the support of our discerning and stylish sponsors. Play your way, whether it's sneaking up on enemy squads with a katana in hand or ripping an entire building out from under their feet with explosives. The finals lets you make the call. With different skills across body builds and a wide array of weapons and gadgets, you'll have all the tools to make your playstyle your own. The world is your weapon and enemy. A skilled contender might go in guns blazing, but with environmental destruction in your arsenal, that's just the start of what you can wield against your foes. All of our arenas can be altered, used, or reduced to rubble, and not just by you. Your rising star, ready for your close-up? Standing out in the finals means the eyes of the world will be upon you, so you'd better look your best. Gather fans and fame as you craft a unique avatar with the help of our generous sponsors and dazzling customization options. Get famous. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. Arenas based on iconic places, unparalleled destruction, and endless tactical possibilities await. Make them your own, and the floodgates of fame will open. Your competition will have the same opportunities, so it'll be up to you to be more clever and attention-grabbing. Are you up to the challenge? Are you the world's next all-star? Can you reach the finals? So there's a lot in there. From info we have previously, we know it's going to be a cooperative, free-to-play first-person shooter. Now we can also expect entire maps to be destructible, and with a suite of senior ex-DICE developers at Embark Studios who worked on many of the Battlefield franchise games, we should set our expectations pretty high for what that destruction will be like. It also sounds like our skills at destroying the arena will be just as much a tactic as our FPS ability. This is going to be no generic FPS game by the looks already. With the mention of melee weapons like katanas and also explosives, you can see that those X-Dice devs are going to bring some of the other Battlefield gems to the game too. Now, the idea of escalating tournaments is also pretty interesting and almost has a sort of Rocket League competitive feel about it. This will provide something for players to strive for as a team and also potentially make for a great game to spectate, especially if you can watch those later rounds of a tournament. And perhaps this is where the game show element comes into it. That part is yet to be fully fleshed out for us. While many of us expected a full trailer for the game at Gamescom, me included, having Embark Studios only drop a short teaser and let us know that a full gameplay trailer is coming later in September shouldn't be too much of a surprise in some ways, as the studio only recently announced that they were pushing back the release of Ark Raiders into 2023 and actually bringing forward the release of the finals to around the end of 2022. So they might not have had enough time to create a full trailer for Gamescom. If you want to know more about that change, watch the video above. Okay, let's now dive into a detailed breakdown of the 24-second teaser to see what you might have missed, along with a look at some GIFs that they have on their Steam page. At first watch, the teaser appears very chaotic, with some scenes and images appearing for only a frame or two, and shortly we'll look at all of those things in detail. However, what I've discovered is that the teaser is actually really interestingly constructed. It's actually a trailer of two semi-mirrored halves, and by that I mean that the action in the first half of the trailer runs up to this point where the gold coins stop in the air. This marks the middle of the teaser almost to the exact frame. The coins then reverse their movement, and the second half of the video is mostly a variation of the first half, but running backwards. So the halves aren't an exact repeat of each other, but are almost identical. And in some places, the static partial images shown in the first half of the teaser have the missing bits of them shown in the second half of the trailer. Now, I'll show you what I mean by that as we go through the teaser in fine detail. But for someone like me who likes to delve into trailers frame by frame, this has been a super interesting teaser with plenty of curiosities to uncover. Okay, let's begin. The trailer opens with an old school arcade machine prompt to insert coin, which already suggests the vibe that they're going for with the FPS game is much more arcadey than any sort of slow-moving tactical milsim style game. We then get the Embark and Nexon logos. For those of you that don't know, Nexon are the majority shareholder of Embark Studios, but Embark are both developing and publishing their own games, so Nexon will likely have limited impact on the games that Embark release. We then get the opening shot of the trailer, which is a rather bizarre angle looking up at what looks like a large inflatable rubber duck on the left, and a wrecking ball smashing through a building on the right-hand side. We then see the word can. Now watch these words as we go through the teaser and you'll see that they essentially make up the sentence, "Can you reach the finals?" Our first look at a playing character is next, with this yellow-jacketed character carrying a grey-coloured MAC-10 machine pistol, which is a lot plainer than the one that we saw in the original teaser for the game. This character also appears to have blue headphones and a loosely worn face mask, as well as this little white trinket which I think is an egg. More about him later. These are all our first indications in this trailer that character customization is going to be a big thing for the game, which is no surprise considering it's a free-to-play game, so expect microtransactions on that front. In the immediate background, we see the house behind the character is being blown apart by that wrecking ball. Keep an eye on that, and much further behind, we see that the map is enclosed in a stadium-style roof and surround, which we saw in the first teaser, and this time it has the finals branding adorning it. We then get a close-up of that character's face and those blue headphones, and we see a cowboy hat-wearing character actually riding the wrecking ball, which will be a totally mad game element. Imagine riding a wrecking ball as it smashes through buildings, not only showering building debris on your opponents, but getting the jump on them by arriving on the back of the ball. The word "you" from the "Can you reach the finals" sentence. The scene then cuts to our character's view while wielding a bright yellow M60 LMG, which has the words OSP ooze on it. More about those words when we look at the Easter eggs later on. The character blasts apart plastic seats and tables and umbrellas in what looks like a European street cafe area. I'm starting to expect unprecedented levels of destruction in this game. In the background is a billboard, which we saw in the previous game teaser. I'm presuming that these will highlight previous champions of the game as part of their reward for winning. We then see a couple of frames of an inverted colour partial image of a more modern tree-lined atrium area inside a building. With a little Photoshop tweak, here is the real colour image showing a more modern variation in the maps that we should expect. Now this is one of the images that has their missing part shown in the teaser's second half. Here's the other part from the second half, and if we flip the second image horizontally and join them together, we get a good look at the actual location. Pretty crazy, right? Now the press release from Embark Studios did say that we'll play in virtual arenas based on iconic real-world locations, so if anyone recognizes this place, please let me know in the comments below. I did a quick Google image search but couldn't find an exact match. There's quite a lot of modern buildings that have this kind of indoor-outdoor look. So this isn't an easy one to recognize. Next, our character is using some sort of tablet to help them as they move through the Monaco streets, which bear the flags of the Principality, and we saw this in the original teaser. The character in front is the cowboy hat wearing player that we saw on the Wrecking Ball earlier, this time carrying what looks like another MAC-10 machine pistol. We have an explosion underway on the building here, which seems to blow an air conditioning unit clean across the alleyway, which then bounces off the wall, which is a super detailed level of destruction. Down the alley we have two more characters, presumably on our own team, one of which is carrying a bipoded LMG. Expect lots of close quarters combat in this game, which was a hallmark of some of the best Battlefield games from the Battlefield titles that some of these devs have worked on, and which I personally love. We also see the arena walls down the street. Now just to add to the quirkiness of this trailer, we get two frames of a pug, of course. Maybe a nod to this pug that we saw in the Ark Raiders trailer, who knows. Then the word reach from our ever-growing Can You Reach the Finals sentence. Then we see this cute little egg fella who is actually part of an Easter egg that is hidden on the Finals website. So let's take this moment to dive into that. Firstly, we saw the trinket Easter egg attached to this character. Then we see him here in the teaser, at first smiling, even though he's leaking a little yolk. Hey, don't we all? Then he's winking, then looking not so happy, and then, can we please have an F in chat? Okay, so then if we jump into the website, the main image on the website has this character with this walkie-talkie with the OSP ooze written on it. A member of the Finals Discord named Cobut tried adding OSP ooze to the Finals website domain name, and magically it takes us to this image of our little eggy friend with his OSP ooze branded produce in hand. Now if we look at the fine print on the right hand side of this image, it says OSP ooze, official sponsor, the Finals Season 0. So firstly it tells us that we have seasons in the game and our eggy friend here kicks off Season 0. Similarly, on the bottom right of this image from Embark Studios press kit for the Finals, which is on their website, we see the OSP ooze logo and another which spells ISUEL-T. Add this to the Finals website URL and we get this bony gloved character called the Bias Wrecker, and the small print also says official sponsor the Finals Season 0. So the in-game sponsors for the first season of the game are confirmed. Maybe these also represent new elements of the game being added with the seasons. So for Season 0 we get destruction with the broken egg representing that, and the swinging bias wrecker perhaps means we get the game's wrecking ball in Season 0 as well. Let me know what you think about that. Okay, let's carry on with the analysis. Leaving our broken eggy friend behind, we see a cowboy character using what looks like a sledgehammer as a melee weapon. The character also seems to have a scabbard for a katana sword, which is slightly odd. Normally characters in these types of games only have one melee weapon. Perhaps the scabbard is just cosmetic. When the other character is struck by the sledgehammer and eliminated, they turn into gold coins, which we've seen before in the previous teaser as well as concept art. We then get another partial image with inverted colours, which also has a partner image in the second half of the video, so let's invert the colours and join them together like the last ones, and we end up with this image of two characters in combat on a building roof with skyscrapers in the background, which have jellyfish on them. Now, does this ring any bells for you? Well, watch this clip of the James Bond movie Skyfall. This is the second time James Bond has been referenced by the Embark Studios art team, with them also adding a 007 number plate to the Vespa scene in the very first teaser. I reckon this speaks to two things. First, the frenetic Daniel Craig Bond movie-like pace that we might expect from the fights in the finals, and also that this map location probably matches that seen in Skyfall, which happens to be Shanghai, China. So now we have Monaco and potentially Shanghai on the map location list. Let's move on with the teaser. After the rooftop image, the trailer continues on with the sledgehammer melee kill that we saw, with the losing character turning into gold coins. The gold coins from the body fly through the air, with possibly the Shanghai location again in the background. The coins slow down their movement until one coin stops in the middle of the screen, so we can see that it has the Finals game logo on it, and the Finals game name is shown distorted over the top of it. Now, this marks the exact middle of the teaser in time and structure, which is quite extraordinary, really. We then move into the second half of the trailer, where we mostly see a repeat of the first half, but varied a bit and in reverse motion. The coins go back to the melee kill, which is in reverse. We get a snapshot of our Iggy friend again, happy and back to his slightly yolk-leaking self. We get a brief shot of that air conditioning unit flying through the air in the alleyway again, then the M60 laying waste to the street cafe area in reverse. Uh-oh, can we have another F in chat please? The headphone-wearing character from earlier shown via a mix of inverted and normal colours, the wrecking ball smashing through a building, and back to the big rubber duck and wrecking ball that we saw at the very start of the trailer. Then the Finals logo appears and a final piece of concept art with the yellow-jacketed character also showing the Easter egg names we saw earlier, and that's the teaser. Now we also have a couple of low-res GIFs and images from the Steam website, so let's take a look at those. The first one is pretty simple. It moves through some great-looking map locations, some we've seen and others we haven't. I don't recognise any of the new locations, they are pretty generic, but let me know if you do. The second GIF also shows an awesome looking nighttime scene. These devs really seem to excel at nighttime lighting. We also see a clock on the stadium's surround, so maybe that says that rounds are a timed thing, which could also put pressure on teams to get stuck into fighting each other in the game before the time runs out. We then have another fight scene, and again, great lighting here. We see a billboard in the background, and this is probably a previous champion team shown for all to see. And then it includes the coin scene from the teaser. Lastly, we have 6 screenshot images provided as part of the press kit from Embark Studios, which I'll leave for you to look at while I sum up. So, from the info, the teaser, and the GIFs, it looks like the Finals is going to be a frantically paced game show-like team-based FPS game packed with highly destructible levels that you can use to your advantage, with the map set in some interesting, well-known locations from around the world. It will have plenty of character customizations available, and the game will have seasons with in-game sponsors, the first 2 of which we now know through Easter eggs. From that, we can also say that Easter eggs are going to be a staple throughout the info and probably the game. Also, Embark Studios are going to hide plenty of info in their trailers for us to find, which I personally love. That pretty much wraps up my analysis. Now, don't forget to keep an eye out for the game's full reveal coming in September. I'm hoping that includes plenty of straight-up gameplay, and I'd expect the playtest to get underway soon after that. Don't forget to sign up for those playtests on Steam. If you think I've missed anything in my analysis, please let me know in the comments below. And last but not least, I'd like to give a little shout out to Crash Games, who invited me onto his live show to chat about Embark Studios this week, alongside his counterpart Buff Nerd Gaming. So please check out both of their channels as well, as they include Embark's games in their commentary. And I'll leave you with one last Easter egg from Embark Studios, which is this excellent 404 page from their website. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Kia kaha. Stay strong.